Hi, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will discuss functions, a very important concept that is used in most programming languages. Let's understand what are the functions and why do we need them. At times, to develop an application, we need to write large programs. As large programs are difficult to manage, we divide the large programs into basic building blocks called functions. A function contains set of instructions enclosed within curly braces which perform specific operations in a program. Functions make the program handling easier as it is easier to deal with a small part at a time than a long list of instructions. Apart from that, functions reduce the program size and make it more readable and understandable. Function calls can be repeated in the same program, which eventually allows avoiding repeating code of large set of instructions. Functions are of two types: built-in functions or library functions and user-defined functions. Let's discuss them one by one. Built-in functions are the functions that are provided by the C library. They are part of the compiler packages. Exit, square root, power are some examples of built-in functions. At times, programmers create some functions themselves to carry out an operation. These are called user-defined functions. In this tutorial, we will learn how we can create user-defined functions. We will refer to user-defined functions by the term functions only from now on. There are three aspects in a function. They are function declaration or prototype, function call, and function definition. Let us understand them one by one. We must define a function before using it anywhere in our program. Let's understand how a function is defined. The syntax of the function definition is return type followed by function name followed by arguments list followed by the body of the function. Here, return type specifies the type of the value that the function returns. It may be any valid C data type. The argument list is a comma-separated list of variables of a function. And the body of the function contains the set of statements that is executed when the function is called. Here is an example of function definition. This function is defined to calculate the cube of a number. Now let's move on to function prototype. Function prototyping is a very useful feature of C programming. This informs compiler about the function name, function parameters, and data type of return values. The syntax of function is return type followed by function name followed by arguments list. Notice that it looks just like the syntax of the function definition except that it does not have the body. For example, the code shown here declares a function cube. Now let's discuss why do we call a function and how it is called. Once the function is declared and defined, we need to call the function to carry out the task for which it is defined. A function is called by providing the function name followed by the argument list. In the call statement, the number and the types of argument values must be same as defined in the function prototype. For example, to call a function whose prototype is float cube, float x, we can provide a function called statement cubex. Notice that since in function definition there is only one float variable, so we can give only one float variable in the call statement. This means here x must be of float type. We learned how a function is declared, defined, and called. We have seen example of function which calculates the cube of a number. Now we have the complete code which calculates the cube of the number using functions. Let's understand the code. This will help us get better command on functions. First, the code declares function cube. Then, it accepts the number whose cube is to be found from the user. After accepting the number from the user, it calls the function cube and assigns its return value to the variable n. The call statement provides the argument values, that is the value of m, to the function. Once the call statement is encountered, the flow of execution is transferred to the function definition. There the function body calculates the cube of the number and then returns the result. Once the return statement is encountered, the flow of execution is transferred to the statement following the function call statement. This statement prints the value of the cube on the screen. This is how we obtain the cube of the number using functions. Let's execute the code. We enter value 13. On screen, we get the result 2197. That's it in this tutorial. User-defined functions is a very important part of programming. For a beginner, it could be overwhelming, but don't worry. As you make progress in this training program, you will see repetitive use of user-defined functions and have better command on it. In the next tutorial, we will discuss two methods of calling a function. So see you in the next tutorial.